If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. If you're seeing things.
So, guests in your park and even some of your staff claim to have seen a ghost. Have they? Well, let me put that concern to rest right now. You see, there are no such things as ghosts. My name is Special Agent Walter Peck, and I'm the authority in charge of this investigation. Be assured the full weight and power of the EPA are now on the case.
Too late, Peck. The Ghostbusters are already here.
Ray Stans, you and your fellow hoaxsters should be doing dinner theater somewhere and butting out of where you don't belong.
We're following up on an anonymous tip, Peck. Obviously, we could bury the hatchet and work together on this. Ghostbusters and EPA working hand in hand?
Really?
Of course not.
I'm on to you, Stans. And when the time comes for you and the rest of your so-called Ghostbusters, I drop the hammer.
I hope it's not on your foot. I see you've already met Walter Peck, which means you must be pretty nervous by now. But as of this moment, it's the Ghostbusters who are on the scene, ready to believe you and ready to help. That means your specters, spooks, and spirits problems are now in the hands of professionals. My understanding is that you may have run into a little friend of ours we call Slimer. Well, let me reassure you that he's relatively harmless for a Class 5 full-roaming vapor, which is to say he can bring down your whole operation if we don't get him under control. Oh, sorry, I realized. I haven't introduced myself. Really, I mean, I shouldn't have to, seeing as you must know the Ghostbusters, but just in case, I'm Ray Stans, Ph.D., a doctor of parapsychology with a minor in metallurgy. I'm an expert in paranormal history and have traveled extensively, both in this plane of existence and others. I'm also a non-transient corporeal entity of the state, county, and city of New York. That includes the 5 boroughs, of course. And most importantly for you in this particular situation, I've been dealing with ghosts and other ectoplasmic-generated phantasms for years as a founding member of the Ghostbusters. All this is to say that you now have the best, correction, the only experts with the knowledge and experience to help you deal with your potentially possessed theme park. And if I might say personally, I can't wait to get started. This is going to be great. I once had a dream of something I loved from my childhood. Something sweet and soft and, oh, so full of creamy, pillowy goodness. And then it tried to destroy Manhattan, so I roasted it. The Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man, the form of the destructor. So, let's put that misunderstood sailor in the park, and don't worry about that other stuff. Based on our extensive, and I do mean extensive research on interdimensional gods, admittedly after the fact, I don't believe sentient, angry, and grotesquely oversized marshmallow men can ever happen again.
It better not, because last time your elaborate prank left me covered in melted marshmallow.
Now that I can hope for. Now the call that came into the Ghostbusters office was an anonymous tip, which doesn't bode well when it comes to tying that to a paying client. Venkman and Egon said this was a fool's errand. Well, Venkman did anyway, but do what you love, and the money will find you is my motto. So here's how I see this working. Just like any elimination job, it's not just what you see, but what's hiding in the woodwork that matters. I suspect there's a lot more ghost activity happening here than what we have on the surface. So what we'll need to do is lure them out into the open, where the Ghostbusters' patented, almost licensed by the City of New York particle thrower can be most effective. I'll provide you with guidance for all things Ghostbusters for this themed area of your park. I'll make suggestions and requests that should make this section of the park more enticing to the spirit world. Talk about scary rides, right? If your park is haunted, we'll know soon enough. They say you're good at your job, which means you should be able to handle the extra attention this park is about to receive with some of the modifications we're going to be making. Oh boy, if they think they're afraid now, just wait. This is awesome. We're going to run a theme park with spirit and spirits. Let's start by dealing with some of your personnel issues. Sure, seeing a ghost can make some people, well, most people uneasy. And it's cost your park some of its workforce, so you need to get staffing.
And remember, Buster, I'm watching your every move.
That's Ghostbuster, Buster.
So Stans claims you didn't call the Ghostbusters. Now, while that would normally work in your favor, I'm going to ignore that fact because I need him to sweat a little. That means you will as well. Therefore, all EPA regulations are hereby in effect. I'm imposing fees for our presence, which you will more than gratefully pay for. And if I sense any further disturbances or any environmental impact from this park, there will be further punishments, payments imposed.
Hey, you've been working hard. You deserve a little downtime.
You think I'm not onto your trick, Stance? Because I am, mister. And this time, I won't fall for them, or stand for them, or take them lying down, and I'm not bending over backwards either.
So basically, you're doing nothing.
Exactly. Wait.
I don't want to brag, but I'm something of a marksman when it comes to the particle thrower. I can hit pretty much everything with it, which sometimes admittedly can be a problem. I've set my best score on the shooting ride. Care to see if you can beat it? Just remember, you're playing with fire. Okay, more accurately, an unlicensed nuclear accelerator, so, you know, be careful. Not bad. Not bad at all. And you've managed to leave the building standing. That's actually impressive for a rookie. All right, your park is looking a bit like a graveyard, which, and don't get me wrong here, I support. But your guests, and my ghosts, like a little action. I'd start looking at building the place up and increasing the appeal of the park, which should draw in more ectoplasmic energy. Then we'll see what's what. I just realized you may be wondering about the proceeds from the shooting ride. It's a bustin' good time, right? The kids love it. And the parents? They hate that the kids love it. Thing is, if you know about crossing the streams, you know that it causes a reverse particle flow. Sort of like the profits for the ride. Venkman insisted that we make our fees somewhere in this deal. So that particular ride is, well, that's Ghostbusters money. I'm sure whether you do or not, you understand. Okay, so in spite of what Peck has tried to do, and spite is the operative word here, your park is beginning to look profitable. Maybe a new ride would really put things over the top.
Putting things over on people is something you think you're good at, isn't it, mister?
Did you know, Peck, that many ghosts linger in the physical dimensions because they won't let go of their grudges?
Ah, that sounds like I'm going to enjoy the afterlife. This park remains the subject of an environmental probe, regardless of how well it may be doing in other areas.
Ooh, probe. That sounds like harassment.
The Ghostbusters have pulled the wool over the eyes of New Yorkers for far too long, and now it is the EPA that will be taking you to the cleaners. Because of me, this racket of yours is soon coming to an end, so you better watch your backside, mister.
Doctor, please. And because of you, an angry god from another dimension, with an admittedly questionable hairstyle, almost turned Manhattan into an apocalyptic burning hell.
I was trying to protect the city.
You were trying, while the Ghostbusters were crossing the streams and actually doing it. All right, profits are up. This is turning out better than expected. Now I suspect that the reason the mysterious caller tipped us off in the first place may start coming into play. So we need to be on our toes. Remember, when it comes to ghosts and otherworldly beings, what you can't see is what you need to look for. There's been a change in the overall energy of the park. Not for the better, I might add.
I kind of like it, myself.
You would, Peck. You're surrounded in negativity. As I was saying, I've suspected that when the conditions were right, we'd get a spike in phantasmic activity and with it, an increase in ectoplasm. I've called in Egon to help me investigate what's happening.
Great. Twice the idiots, half the competency.
Don't listen to him. Nobody else does. I'll deal with the spooks, while you deal with the guests. See if you can restore some calm to the park. Egon and I will check for evidence of psychomagnetheric slime, which can really mess with people's mood. Now, you may have to increase security in the park based on what's happening with the psychoreactive slime. Security cameras, guards, work rosters, get on top of all of it. Maybe this is a place where Peck could actually be helpful.
We secure the environment at the EPA. In case you haven't been paying attention, Stans, I'm not a people person.
You don't say.
I believe the saying is keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
That must be one crowded carpool. For a while, I was thinking of opening up a diner, an eatery, what have you, called Gutbusters. Build on the brand, right? Everyone's got to eat. Fact is, one of our first big traps was that ugly little spud with an insatiable appetite that you met earlier. So, see what you can come up with. Research and build a successful restaurant. Maybe our spirits, like our guests, hunger for something.
The EPA is not something you fool with lightly. Costs are going up.
Everything suddenly makes so much sense. I think there's something wrong with Peck. I mean, more wrong than usual. The negative energy generated by the psychomagnetheric slime must be having a field day with him. Where there's room for failure, there's also room for improvement. And Jell-O. There's always room for Jell-O.
No, don't listen to him. The Ghostbusters are up to their old tricks. It's always sleight of hand with them. Deception. Then they get you.
Hey, I love Jell-O.
Is that so? I suppose that next you'll warn us that one is going to become sentient, grow to 100 times its size, and wiggle down Fifth Avenue, eating everything in its path.
Don't be ridiculous, Peck. That only happens with marshmallow men, as far as I know. So you should be very careful about putting ideas in my head.
Busy wiping up snot while someone else did all the hard work, I see.
I'll have you know, Peck, collecting ectoplasm is a serious business.
No, the Environmental Protection Agency is serious business. You and the Ghostbusters, you're nothing but disaster artists.
But I am an artist. My PKE meter has been pinging like crazy. Then, hey, right on cue, guess who just made an appearance in the park? You remember that ghost I mentioned with the voracious hunger? The ugly green spud? It's a nasty Class 5 full-roaming vapor we've nicknamed Slimer. And the ghost haunting your park? Well, there you go. This is it. Time to suit up. It's go time. Best way to learn is on-the-job experience. Also, it's the best way to die. You're pretty good at this. Say, have you ever considered a permanent future in paranormal elimination? Feels like we might need more places for the guests to stay, and more places for the ghosts to haunt. Wait, I've got it. You should build a hotel. Personally, I'm partial to the Sedgwick. They have a very, lively dining room. I've destroyed worse, but you decide. When we first got the firehouse, it was amazing, because we had a place to set up Ghostbusters HQ. But it didn't come without some pain. Financially, I mean. Fortunately, we have Lewis taking care of the books now. And in addition to his forays into demonic possession, he's really good with real estate. What I've learned is you have to manage the size of your building.
And the size of your ego.
No problem for you there, Peck. Your ego, anyway.
This is me ignoring you, Stans. Listen, I know a thing or two about hotels and luxury sells.
Especially when you can charge it to the government. Those rooms are paying dividends, which reminds me, I'm still not sure who is paying us. The Ghostbusters took this job on an anonymous tip, so we really don't have a client.
No one to squeeze for cash, huh? Not much of a con man, are you, Stans?
That's what I've been trying to tell you since the beginning. Ghosts are real.
And your paycheck is an illusion. In that case, all is right with the world.
Listen, Peck, if my PKA readings are accurate, you have no idea how wrong you are. When I was a kid, one of my favorite places was Coney Island. They had a ride, a coaster called the Cyclone. What a place to face your fear. Plus, hot dogs. That's what you need. Not the hot dogs, a new coaster. Not too intense. All this paranormal activity has your guests on edge. It needs that Ghostbusters flair. Man, I really could go for a hot dog.
I see you've elevated your dog and pony show to the next level. Now you're chasing ghosts around the park, are you?
We don't chase, Peck. We track paranormal and ethereal transdimensional entities, then capture them with beams of proton energy, secure them within traps, and transfer them to the Ghostbusters Ecto-Containment Unit. The one you shut down, remember?
Oh, I remember. I remember how you and the Ghostbusters conned the city with your Ghostbusters bag of deceptions, and I know, Stans, that includes inducing some kind of hallucinations and mass hysteria. Well, boo-hoo-hoo, you won't scare me this time.
I'm not the one you should be afraid of. Good job. The Ghostbusters are kicking butt and taking names. Things are looking up. That's solid work on your part all around. From what I can see, the new coaster has also increased the overall fear-based adrenaline in the park. That should bring about more intense psychomagnetheric slime activity. Maybe then, we'll see what's really trying to reach out from the other side. Oh boy, this is bad. The gargoyles have turned into terror dogs. That means Zool and Vince Clortho, a couple of really heinous spooks themselves, are already here.
I've about wrapped up this investigation and will soon issue my report on what has been happening in the park.
If my PKE meter is right, the fireworks are just about to start.
Don't think for a moment you can play me, Stans. There is nothing to fear. The EPA is on site.
That's where you're wrong, Peck. Look, I've faced off against some pretty terrifying baddies over the years. And was I scared? Yes, of course. Pretty much every time. I was also excited. But in all my time with the Ghostbusters, I've only experienced this level of ectoplasmic energy a few times before. Something big is definitely coming.
I'm on you every step of the way. Don't think you won't pay a price.
Uh-oh, looks like the terror dogs are missing. Believe me when I say these bad boys have a bite worse than our bark. We'd better find them. This is what the Ghostbusters are all about. 24/7, 365 days a year, professional, reasonably priced, supernatural elimination services for the greater New York region and beyond. And the beyond is where the real excitement can be found. Right, Peck?
I'm not sure I follow you.
Incorrect. You've been following us since the beginning, because you're the one who called the Ghostbusters.
That's preposterous. What help would I possibly need from the Ghostbusters?
Peck saw what was happening in the park and thought we, the Ghostbusters that is, were planting evidence of spiritual activity. His goal was to trap us, catch us at our own game. Right, Peck?
And haven't I? The charade is over, Stans. I have everything I need to shut down the Ghostbusters once and for all.
The Ghostbusters are not your problem, Peck. We never have been.
And you never will be again. Fine. I admit it. I called the Ghostbusters. You got me. Call the cops. Oh, wait, I am the cops.
You're a bureaucrat, Peck, and we'll be sending our bill to the EPA.
Do it. Do it. See if you bozos ever see a dime.
Let me ask you something, Walter. If you called us, who called you?
Well, it doesn't matter. I hope you don't think I'm treating you unfairly by raising the EPA fees. Actually, I don't care. That's it. I think we've had just about enough of this silliness. I'm shutting the Ghostbusters down. These ridiculous containment units are doing nothing but furthering the Ghostbusters shell game. I'm taking them offline.
What are you doing, Peck? You know what happened last time you shut down our containment unit.
Oh, I remember, mister. I remember how you and the Ghostbusters created some sort of shared delusion and mass hysteria. Well, maybe you can fool the common man, but you can't fool me.
You're letting out the ghosts. That would be a mistake.
No one makes mistakes like I can.
All right, I hope you're ready. The park is primed with ectoplasm and psychokinetic energy. We have a target-rich environment of extreme spiritual turbulence. Whatever's been waiting to go down, that wait is over. I only hope it's not the end of the world again, because that was a lot of overtime. Great. It's the end of the world. I knew it. Well, I should have known it. The Traveler, the Destructor, of course. It was right in front of me the whole time. Vin's Clortho. Okay, this is bad. Peck is the keymaster. That means we have to find Zool, the gatekeeper, and quick. Otherwise, we get Gozer. And believe me when I say that is one hot mess of a god with severe anger issues. And an interesting sense of fashion. It's Gozer. We're too late. One of the park guests must have been possessed by Zool, the gatekeeper. Okay, I've dealt with this god before. Not much of a talker, though. No pressure. Just the end of all life as we know it. So, here's the plan. Well, a plan. You keep the park up and running, and me and the guys will deal with your all-powerful, indestructible, omnipotent, immortal god interdimensional infestation problem. Because we're the Ghostbusters, and no job is too big. Oh, that Gozer is a real buzzkill. And by that I mean its buzz can literally kill. It starts by lowering the happiness of everyone nearby, including your guests. You'd think that a Class 7 god, one who's also known as Gozer the Traveler, would find a theme park fun. You know, like almost everyone else. Instead, Gozer is radiating negative energy that can put a real damper on everyone's day and life. When it's all said and done, it comes back to your training and to how little you care for your own well-being. Peck thinks we're stupid, but he hasn't studied and researched the world beyond what we can touch as I have. Sure, it can be frightening and dangerous, but that's what science is supposed to be. Paranormal research isn't about answering questions, it's about questioning answers. If it sounds like I'm trying to rationalize madness, it's because I am. What we need to do is reverse the particle flow generated by our throwers. How? We're going to cross the streams, which is so not advisable for a number of reasons. The foremost being that if it goes wrong, we could create a total protonic reversal, the end of life, reality, even time as we understand it. But what are the chances that'll happen? Don't answer that. We gotta get ready.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call?
And that is why you don't mess with the Ghostbusters. We have the tools and the talent. I mean, just how many times do we have to remind this god who it's up against? And we even saved Peck. Though that wasn't a top priority. Or middle one, really. Kind of bottom of the list, truth be told.
Ha! Race stands telling the truth? Not likely.
How do you feel, Peck?
Great. Okay. Why? What did you do to me?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
I'm fine. Though I could use a walk. Or a run. Maybe I'll find a stick.
That's a good boy. All right, things look stable for now. PKE readings are within acceptable limits. However, this place, the park, is still hot with ectoplasmic potential, so tread carefully. The spirit world never goes away. It just sort of retreats and waits. And Gozer is always a threat. So don't let your guard down.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Okay, you've proven you're up to a challenge. Ghostbusters material, even. So how'd you like to put those skills to work managing a new park? It's gonna be harder, but you know who to call if you get in trouble. The Ghostbusters, in case that wasn't clear. All you have to do is start breaking a lot of things and setting them on fire, and I'd swear you're a real Ghostbuster. Well, this is unexpected. Not that I didn't believe in you. I mean, I put down 20 against both Venkman and Winston that you'd live. But the way you have this park running, well, that's almost as cool as memorizing Tobin's Spirit Guide. Ghostbusters!